What's going on, guys? Aero here, and guys, it seems that every single day there's some new type of leak or rumor that pops up somewhere about information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. And the one that I want to talk to you guys about today is actually one that originated a few weeks ago. And I think that this leak came out during the beginning of February, and I remember a lot of you guys were sending this to me on Twitter, and you were linking me to this and saying like, Aero, this is some new information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. This is some big leak, some big information. You have to cover this. There's a lot of hype here about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. And I remember at that time I was like, alright, let me take a look at this, let me see what everybody's getting all wild up about, and let's see what they have to say. And apparently when I clicked on that, it took me to this like 4chan post, and I was like, alright, here we go again, 4chan. And once I read the post, it was apparently about this guy who was claiming to be an Italian translator for the upcoming Pokemon Switch game, and they were talking about how they have some inside information about the games. So this person named Piyuk on 4chan claimed to have information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch because of how they are an Italian translator who's translating the games. And they even posted a picture about how they have some like official documents about like translating the Pokemon Switch game. And after I saw this, I was like, alright, this is definitely fake. There's no reason for me to cover this, because once I saw these papers, and I'll show them on your screen right now, I'm sure you guys will also assume that this is fake as well. Like, that's how I felt when I first saw this. I'm like, alright, obviously this is just someone who's trying to fake all of this. Like, they always have like fake stuff like this. Like, you know what I'm talking about. There's always people who post like these papers of like internal information that they have about upcoming announcements and stuff. I remember there's always ones that pop up for like Nintendo Directs right before E3. There's like papers that say like, oh yeah, these are going to be all of the big announcements that they're going to have for Nintendo. So after I saw all of that, I was like, this is probably fake, I'm not going to cover it. And it looks like the person in their original post in February said that they were going to come back in March and talk about more information once they have some more information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. And it looks like they were true to that, and they came back in March and updated their post a few weeks ago and added a whole bunch of new information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. And I still didn't believe any of this. I was like, this just doesn't sound like it's going to be real. But apparently it looks like there's nothing here that has been debunked so far, according to Pokeserena. As that's what I took a look at. I took a look at what Pokeserena had to say, and if you don't know who Pokeserena is, she is the person who translated the original Chinese leaks for Pokemon Sun and Moon way back in the day. If you remember those Chinese leaks that we got about like Rockruff's evolution and stuff like that, she is the one who translated all of that information into English, and she herself actually has some inside sources who give her information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. So like, she actually knew back in like the Ultra Sun and Moon days of last year, she knew way ahead of time about like Team Rainbow Rocket and stuff like that. And so she told me that she actually has some good information about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, and even according to her inside sources, there's nothing here that this person said in their 4chan post that has been completely disproven or completely debunked. Now this is pretty crazy, as we're going to take a look at the leak here, and I'm going to read every single thing that this person posted and all of the information that they claim to have about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. But yeah, this person dumped a ton of information in their post about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. There's got to be at least like 40 little leaks here that they have about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch, and you would think here, by posting so many things about Pokemon on the Switch with like 40 or so different hints and things that they've posted, there's got to be at least one thing that they mess up, or one thing that completely disproves all of their things that they're saying. But apparently not. It looks like every single thing that this person says here is still valid, and there's nothing here that completely disproves what this person is saying. So yeah, let's take a look at these leaks here. Now the first thing that this person is saying is that the region is definitely not Kanto. And I know that some people were saying like, maybe because of how this is such a big leap for Game Freak to do, to take Pokemon from a handheld onto a home console, maybe they're gonna like turn back the clock and kind of restart the franchise and restart with the Kanto region. But it looks like, according to this person, the region is definitely not Kanto. They also said here, I can't quantify how much, but considering the length of my scripts and the fact that they're stuck in the same location, the story should be longer than Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Now Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon already had a pretty large story. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a lot of fun playing through that, and especially with like the Rainbow Rocket and all of that stuff that happened towards the end as well. It looks like that the story for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch is going to be pretty long, which is really cool. Now something really interesting about this, according to Pokeserena, was that she was told by her inside sources that for translation about Pokemon games, there's usually like little groups of people that work together on the script before they come up with like a conclusion together as to what they want the final translation to be. And according to this person on 4chan, that's exactly how they describe the translation process, which is pretty cool, as I don't know if they did their research as to how the translation goes for Nintendo and Pokemon and stuff like that. Either that, or they actually are a leaker who's giving information, because apparently according to Pokeserena, the translation process that they're describing for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch and just Pokemon games in general was spot on to what she was told by her inside sources. The next thing here is that it says, as I explained, I don't know the title games and the name of the locations that you will find in the other parts of the game except for my scripts, because according to this leaker, they only have the scripts for some stuff that happens during the early parts of the game. They don't know anything that happens during like the later half of the game, so they only have information about like locations and stuff in the beginning of the game. They also said here there are no Alola references in my scripts, so I can't predict this. And regarding the Spinda part, I can't give you more details, but it should be self-explanatory. I'm not sure what they talked about with the Spinda thing, but apparently there was something about Spinda that was mentioned in the thread. Now next up, there's some information about like special items that you're going to be using throughout the arena. So it says here you're going to be able to use special items in the arena. Those items can't be assigned to Pokemon, and they will affect the field in some specific and different ways. So it looks like you're going to be able to give like special items that are going to be able to change the battlefield or something like that. That's going to be cool. I want to see how that's going to work, and I want to see if that's going to be like something that's actually going to change the competitive scene. Like, I wonder how that's going to work. Seems like a pretty interesting thing, and maybe something that Game Freak could actually do. Next up is some information about trainer customization. So it says here, safe to say that customization is there as it appears in plenty of relevant shops. So I kind of figured that customization for like your trainer is definitely going to be something that's going to appear with Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. It just makes sense. I mean, it appeared in Gen 6, they brought it back into Gen 7. I know it wasn't in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but according to the developers, they wanted to make it feel like the traditional games of like Ruby and Sapphire where you didn't have trainer customization. So that's why they got rid of it in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But I feel like that's just become a part of Pokemon now, so it pretty much makes sense to have that return with Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. The next thing here is that it says no information regarding new EV evolutions. I think this kind of makes sense because according to this person's script, they only have information about the beginning parts of the game. So I feel like there is probably going to be a new EV evolution in this game. So I don't think it's going to be in like the script unless it plays a role in the story somehow. But I do feel like it will probably be there. But yeah, just according to this person and information that they have, it looks like there's nothing that they have about a new EV evolution. It also says here no Ultra Beast mentioned. So there's nothing about Ultra Beast so far that has been mentioned. But then again, it's still the beginning part of the game. I don't think that they would talk about Ultra Beast like right away during the beginning of the game, so maybe they could still be mentioned throughout the later part of the game. And finally, the next thing here in this section is that it says, in my scripts, I only get the moves and all of the additional in-battle content, which is standard, like the statistics, status, etc., and it's being translated by someone else, or it will be soon. So it's impossible at the moment to understand if PP will be removed or not. So I guess that's someone just asking if PP is going to be removed. I don't think that that is, because that would make someone just be able to like spam really good moves back and forth if there was no like PP for that, if PP was just completely removed in the game. So I feel like that's probably still going to return, but yeah, according to this person, they just don't have information about that at this time. Now someone asked here about when we're going to see the reveal for Pokemon on the Switch, and apparently the person doesn't know. He just says you will see it soon, mate, hopefully. And they also asked something else, and they said yes, as I said, arenas. So apparently there's more than one, sound more like a battle royale facility where you can experience a different style of battle, unless they will for example use the arena as the new official online battling format. Now remember how we got some leaks like a little while back that were talking about how there's going to be a new battle system or something like that? Maybe that's what this is referring to, or maybe that's what it was referring to back then. I know how people were saying like it's going to be really bad if Game Freak changes up the whole battling formula, but maybe it could be something like that with how they did in Pokemon Sun and Moon with like the battle royale and stuff like that, like how you're going to be able to do free-for-alls. Maybe it's just like an extra mode like that that you're going to have for like a different way to battle. So maybe that's what they're doing here, and that's what this person is saying. So that would be pretty interesting. I really don't want them to change the like formula for the original turn-based battling, as that's pretty much how Pokemon is, and that's what makes Pokemon Pokemon. Alright, so now we've got some supposed leaks about the gameplay itself, and so yeah, it says here, I'm quite confident that they will show at least one thing that I already mentioned, and so they're referring to like the reveal. They're saying like once the reveal comes, there's definitely going to be at least one thing that the person is mentioning right now. So it says here, just keep in mind that the starters, one of them has a confusing face. So they're saying like one of the starter Pokemon is going to have a confusing face. I guess we'll know when we see the official starters. And it says alternatively, keep in mind that the Jungle Boy, Sylvan, and the food named Katu, and a big fat grass Pokemon, all of them should be potentially relevant for a reveal trailer. So yeah, they're giving information about a Jungle Boy Sylvan, I don't know if Sylvan is his name, and some food named Katu, and a big fat grass Pokemon that I heard is like they're comparing it to Snorlax. So this information here is what they're saying to keep a lookout for with the reveal trailer, and that should give us an idea if we can trust this person or not. So that's information here that I guess we're just gonna have to save, and we're gonna have to see if this person was right once the reveal trailer eventually comes. Alright, so now we've got a ton of more information that this person said. So the first thing here is that it says nothing pointing to a new type in my scripts. So apparently, according to this person right now, they don't have any information about a new type that's going to be in the game. So I don't know. I mean, once again, they still only have access to the early parts of the game. Maybe, I don't think that they would even talk about a new type within like the story. So maybe it could just be something else that they're going to have later, or like information that they just don't have. But I don't think it rules out a new type. I don't know if it could be possible to see a new type for Pokemon on the Switch, but I don't think that just because this person says no, it rules out a new type for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. Let's see, the next thing here is that it says a big part of the island is part of the region. There is a massive jungle as well. So this person is saying that they don't know if the island is going to be like a part of the region or if it's the entire region, but they are saying that there's going to be a massive jungle that you're going to be able to see within the region. Now, just some other information at the bottom here. It says no Mew references. It can be arena battles or something else. I don't have access to the scripts for the later game, so probably if they introduce a new Pokemon mechanic, it will be mentioned later. Pretty much all the same items are in the game except for the special ones that are in the arena. No mentions of Team Rocket so far. And someone asked about like the tradition and innovation thing, as if you remember with some of the old leaks that we had, they were saying that the theme of the game is going to be tradition and innovation. So this person is saying here, not really. The tradition / innovation dualism is not really there, at least in the scripts that this person has. And it says here, Sylvan the Jungle Boy seems scared by someone, so probably in the later game we'll discover that the new evil team is involved. And the last thing here is that it says, unfortunately, I mostly have NPC dialogues and lists of items, so no clues about catching Pokemon mechanic or Pokemon centers. 3 innovations are there though, and I mentioned 2 of them already. Alright, so the next thing that we have here is something that I found pretty interesting. So the person returned back again on 4chan, and the person posted and said, hey guys, as you probably remember from my previous threads, the beginning of this week is going to be the first submission deadline for the translations, at least for the European teams working on my same contractual formula. Well, when we logged into the project submission interface, we run a quick inspect element trick where there were a few suspicious spaces in the header. One of them was a broken image named Pokemon U, Pokemon Me. I'm not claiming these to be the titles of the games, they can be code names, but the interface design aborted the elements or a link to a future facility for translations, an encrypted database, or official terms, as it already happened for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. I'm not gonna lie, when we saw the names, even if they're lame, more than a bell rang, as there is something in the scripts that's fitting perfectly, but it can be a coincidence, of course. That's all. I just wanted to share this odd thing with you. Now, we've got some images here. I don't know, this could obviously all be made up, but it's just interesting how all the things that this person has posted so far, nothing has been completely debunked, and this person is saying like they saw something about something that said Pokemon U and Pokemon Me. Now, they're saying that this doesn't mean that the titles of the games are going to be Pokemon U and Pokemon Me. Quite frankly, it doesn't seem like that would even make sense to me. I don't feel like Game Freak would name their next games Pokemon U and Pokemon Me, but I feel like it could be a code name for something, and that's what I believe in. I think it's probably a code name for something. I just can't see them naming their next games Pokemon U and Pokemon Me. Like, how would they make a Me legendary Pokemon or a U legendary Pokemon? It just doesn't make much sense to me, but it is something interesting that this person mentioned. And here is the most recent information that this person posted. So this was only posted a few days ago, and this person says here, so hey friends, I hope you're all doing fine. A few weeks ago, I shared with you some information regarding the scripts that I was translating together with my team, and I promised to come back here only if I had some new information. Surprisingly, the new scripts have been circulating slightly earlier than expected. I know for sure that one of the teams got their second document during the first week of March, while we had to wait a bit longer. Now, I'll be very honest with you, the amount of info that I have right now is quite big, and I'm not intended to attire attention with too many details. The only things that I will share with you are the following. So the first thing that it says here is there is an airport. So I guess with an airport, maybe we could travel to some place that's a little bit farther away in the region or something like that. I feel like an airport was in Pokemon Black and White too. Like, wasn't there an airport where the gym leader, what was her name, Skyla, like she actually like got you into an airplane and she like flew you off somewhere? So it could just be very well something like that, where like it's a place of the region that you get to fly off to, or it could be the more surprising one that I think the one that everyone really wants, which is we get to fly to another region. Now, the next thing here is that it says a turbo mechanic is going to be here, which is really interesting. It says a turbo mechanic which is going to include a stat boost for weaker Pokemon. So this would be really cool if this turbo mechanic is going to make some weaker Pokemon stronger. That would be really cool. I think Mega Evolutions really helped to do this. Like, I think Mega Evolutions made a lot of Pokemon that many people just didn't use, like Beedrill. With Mega Evolutions, like Beedrill became a very useful Pokemon. A lot of people use Beedrill as it was a powerful Pokemon with its Mega Mega Evolution. But I think after that, like, a lot of people knew, like, if you saw a Beedrill on someone's team, it was most likely going to be a Mega Beedrill. But so then after that, I think Game Freak decided to do something else, which is why they created Z moves. And with Pokemon Sun and Moon with the Z moves, I think it's also really cool how every single Pokemon is able to use a Z move. So that way, it's not like it's so predictable if you see a Beedrill on someone's team that they're just going to be carrying a Mega Stone. With certain Pokemon with the Z crystals, like, I don't even expect them to have Z crystals until I see them using them in battle. So maybe that would be really cool if, like, this turbo mechanic is going to make some weaker Pokemon stronger. That would be really cool if I could use some Pokemon that I actually really like, but I just don't use that often because they're not that powerful. Alright, so it also mentions something here about the Snake Brothers, one bad and one good, and it says here there's an evil team that is building a huge town so that they can attract people from villages and empty the island. And it says here more details in the attached image. They should be self-explanatory, but sorry for the moment, I'm not going to reply to questions. I'll be back after the game's announcements for more details related to what will be shown. Just remember the snakes and the big island, and you'll know that this information is genuine. Best wishes, guys. So they did say that they have some information here in this picture that they attach, so I do have that picture here, and we're going to take a look and see what this picture has to say, as there is some pretty interesting information in this picture. So I put the picture up on your screen so that we can look through all this information together. Now if we start all the way from the left here, you can see that there's like a picture of a Buddha statue, and it's colored in green and it has a Pokeball icon next to it. So maybe this could just mean that there's going to be a Buddha Pokemon or something like that, and because of how it's green, I'm feeling like it might be a grass type Pokemon, and just because of the fact that it has a Pokeball next to it, I think that's why we can infer that it's probably going to be a Pokemon. Now the next thing here is that you can see that there's an airport icon, but the thing about the airport icon is the one on the farther side has a US flag next to it, which is pretty interesting, as I don't think that there's a lot of stuff that you can relate to the Pokemon universe with the US flag. I think the only one that comes to my mind right now is the Univers region, so maybe it would be really cool if you could travel to the whole entire Univers region from this game on the Nintendo Switch, or maybe just even part of the Univers region. That'd be really cool, but it is fishy how the person decided to put a US flag next to the airport. Now there's also a picture of a book here, and the title of the book is The Hills Have Eyes, so I don't know what that could mean here. And then they have a picture of the two snakes that they were talking about. It says a bad snake needs rare Pokemon and eggs as a tribute, inner strength and personification. And then the good snake here collects lights to ensure the nutrients for abyss creatures, cooperative spirit personification. And then there's a line going through them saying that the brothers are going to have a plot twist. And then there's also the turbo thing at the top here that says stat boost for weaker Pokemon, that turbo mechanic that was mentioned in a little bit earlier. And then at the bottom here is the thing that I found a little interesting. There's just like a little pyramid thing with some like jungle like textures next to it, and then a bunch of EVs on here. So I don't know what the EVs mean. I think it probably just means there's going to be a new EV evolution. I don't know what the pyramid could mean. What if it meant like the battle pyramid is going to return? That would be something really cool. Maybe the jungle texture is just referring to that giant jungle that they were referring to. I don't know what else that could be talking about. There's some other stuff here as well, but a lot of this is pretty confusing, so I don't know how I feel about all of this. The really interesting thing to me is a lot of this just kind of feels like Pokemon Black and White to me. I mean, it's talking about how there's a good snake and a bad snake and two brothers and stuff like that. It really kind of just feels like Pokemon Black and White with like the two brothers who were fighting over Reshiram and Zekrom, and how one believed in truths and one believed in ideals, and it just gives me a lot of Pokemon Black and White vibes. Now, I remember reading this article a few weeks ago talking about how Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch was going to be like a reboot of the entire franchise, and I know how a lot of people consider Pokemon Black and White to be a reboot of the franchise as well, and considering how the leaks here are really giving me Pokemon Black and White vibes, maybe that could be true, like with the brothers here and how there's a good snake and a bad snake, and with Pokemon Black and White we had the truths and ideals. Maybe that could just turn out to be the case, who knows. And so there you go, guys. Those are all the Italian leaks that we have here at the moment for Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. A lot of crazy information here, so definitely be sure to click that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and also comment down below and let me know how you feel about these leaks. Do you guys think that they're real? Do you think that they're fake? How do you feel about all the information that was shown here? Definitely be sure to let me know all of your thoughts down below. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero if you ever want to tweet me something or send me something. I'm usually able to reply to everyone on Twitter, so definitely go and follow me there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.